Hello and welcome everybody back to the Dumbass class with me, the Dyslexic Gamer, as we carry on our game of Men and Monster, the Dark Heresy 2nd edition tabletop series with our GM, Jay. So do you want to take it away?
I have decided what my first torture is for you guys today. The sign of a negative variable is equal to the negative sign of the same variable.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm out.
Sounds like heresy.
Yes, okay. Now let's actually start. Okay then. Well, when we last left off, party members were just witness to the When we last left off, I don't know if I want to call it a murder. The righteous purge of the heretic that was there. Let's call it that.
The execution of seditious elements.
Yes, the execution of seditious elements. That were already proven previously to be seditious, but for some reason turned coat against the people there. Turned coat. Yeah, okay, complicated. In any case, and have basically inherited most of this stuff. The psyker of the party, or Saint Grigor, is still basically still on the wraps, and we have cleared up some confusion about what happens to the getting of the pulse rifle, because basically what we fixed with that, we fixed it literally like a second ago. The pulse rifle is not actually a bolt rifle. The person got a plasma rifle, just a straight up plasma gun with a red dot laser sight on it.
And so has a spare red dot laser sight.
What do you mean?
No. If I get it with the red dot sight, it goes to the same.
It's done that way because it's in the same rarity that she already rolled for the pulse rifle.
No, I meant with the...
The dot sight would have to take it from my long blast, Dylan.
What? That's why I was saying you had a spare, because you still have it on your long last.
Yeah, but the pulse gun is of a lower availability than the pulse rifle.
I'm lost.
I'm getting confused too. Let's just move on.
Let's just start. Okay, so that was handled. Also handed to them were the cybernetics. For theirs, essentially just for theirs, corpse was dumped to them. It just to do with it what you want. I'm done with this creature. Is that you have access to all the cybernetics you can successfully salvage from his body, as well as the severed cybernetic arm that also still needs to be repaired. That I believe you already removed a particular plate with a interesting symbol on it from, as well as the power armor that also still requires the arm to be put back on it. Because the power armor has also been broken. The helm of the power armor is irreparably damaged. It has literally been crushed. If you want to make a new helm for it, it needs to be made from scratch or requisitioned.
Well, I don't have a patent to make it from scratch, so I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can at least repair it so Magnus can use the rest of the armor.
Yeah.
So what's that, tech use or armor?
It is I'd say roll me both, and the degrees of success for both will be added to the counter.
Okay.
That's 1 degree.
Roll.
That is 1 degree of success, and for armorer,
I'm gonna fight that.
And for armor, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees of success. So that's a total of 5 degrees of
Isn't
success.
it 6? 4
That
because difference in
is-
the tens digit plus 1 because I succeeded.
Yeah, the first one is just 1 success. The second one is, if it was a 33, that would make it a 5 degrees. The second one, but it's 38, so it's 4 degrees. So it's a total
Okay.
of 5 degrees.
So that's how we do it then, just because of how the book says. I had to look it up the other week, remember?
Yeah.
And it's stuck in my head.
I thought I was doing it the correct way, but
The book's like, compare the tens, then add 1 because you succeeded.
is it just straight up that? I thought it was also compared to ones, but
Yeah,
It's
just
Dark
compare the tens.
Heresy. It can be really silly sometimes.
okay. In that case, it is 6 degrees of success. I stand corrected. Which is enough to identify the damaged parts, quickly replace them, and add the arm back on. I will say that because your tech use was the one where we got 1. You
I can
have
fake that
still.
one too.
You technically can if you want to. But yeah,
It's my last fate point.
it's at your discretion. Essentially, you still find no power source on this power armor.
Still don't think we're going to combat, I'll fate it.
Alright. That is 7 degrees of success. You find in the place what would normally be all things connected to the power supply, you find a very interesting mechanism of psychoconductive materials.
Oh god, is that the thing like I had in Rogue Trader?
Psychopower.
It would appear that this battery. It doesn't actually have a battery. It is essentially charged by the wearer's psychic power.
Well, you're gonna have to become a psyker now, Magnus.
Old man Oltane's got some upgrades.
He's getting a lot of upgrades.
Just think on what you said. Do you really think that putting that particular train wreck in a power armor is gonna improve things?
Yes.
It's going to make it very hard for him to sneak around.
Yeah, he can't sneak off now. Actually, no. Is the armor best quality?
It is not best quality.
Okay, yeah, he can't sneak off.
There is a chance.
It's alright, me and Littler can carry it when he's not in it.
See?
We just dump it down when we get into combat. Oh, combat, drop it.
Okay. Now the appropriate rules for removing the cybernetics. The arm has already been removed but needs to be repaired. The other arm is still attached to there. The legs are still attached to there. The mechanical lungs are still also in Vader's body. So
What rolls?
also
Actually, what became of Vader's body? Did they just throw it into an incinerator? Or...
We have
no,
it.
they let
We
you,
have that.
you have Vader's body, which
Oh.
actually means
He
which
sat in our
actually
wall.
means is that which also means that you figure out is that the inner suit that Vader was wearing actually connects to the quote-unquote power source of the suit. So it also suggests that the inner suit is required to actually power the actual power armor.
He's got wannabe black carapace.
He's a silly wannabe.
Oh, I guess I gotta cut that off too.
That was actually just a suit that can be taken off.
Oh, okay.
Fun thing, if you wear that thing individually without the outside power armor, it makes you look weird as fuck, but it still provides one power. It still provides one armor point.
So it's two.
We didn't hear you.
Alright. Didn't hear me or didn't hear you, Zena?
Yazina, for me, it cut out like first word.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. I thought I was dying again.
Yeah, I thought I was dying. In the case.
I think it lives now.
Alright, what were you saying?
That it's so it still provides armor. So it's like an armored undersuit.
Yeah, it just doesn't stack with the actual power armor itself.
It's like Imperial robes.
Except that this thing will. An interesting quality about it is that if you are a psyker and you wear it, you can actually discharge the energy buildup in it as like electric fields.
So just like my aluminum capacitor.
Yes, it is essentially aluminum capacitor for psykers. That is used to power the power armor. Which means that technically, you're not sure, but maybe you could convert the power armor to also be capable to be powered straight up by the aluminum capacitor. Or you could try to fix the quote unquote. You could also try
Missing
to
battery.
basically. You could try to install a regular, more conventional battery method as well.
I would, if Magnus is informed, he'd say give it to the old man. It's ridiculously rare to find a self-powered power armor. You know,
Magnus is kept informed, by the way, because I've given him the room from it.
because you know, power armor we can getting power armor that a psyker can wear pretty much constantly is not something we're just going to be able to requisition. So I would say give that stuff to old man Ulftane, and then his character is set for the future to be a badass, you know.
Yeah, it's just gonna get given to Ulf, stored to the side when Ulftane wakes up.
I mean, even if he takes a -20 to his sneak, he's still going to be ridiculously good. And a max 45 agility, I think.
He's not an agility sneak character, so it doesn't matter anyway.
You know what I like even more about this is that Ulftane's powers are very much sort of telekinesis focused.
Yeah, so he can make himself damn near invulnerable with that thing.
I was more talking about the fact that if you look at it, he's going to be a better rip-off of Vader than Vader was.
He is.
Shame over there. Shame.
Vader had other things. Vader had insane sword skills.
Yeah, but they had the sword skills, but we have the force powers.
So
Yeah.
how can we get the old man a psychic hood?
Are these the
'Cause
ones you give
all he-
librarians?
yeah, that's all he needs. He just needs a psychic hood, and he is MIDI librarian.
We'll get one of those later.
I mean, I think we could still like donate him to Titan, right?
What, make him a fake star, a false Astartes Grey Knight.
I mean, the Grey Knights. Nice.
In any case.
I think it happened again, although it might be on my end.
No, it wasn't again. Let's also discuss the cybernetics. Are you going to attempt to remove and fix those all right now, or is it going to be at a later date?
I think I'll do it right now.
Okay, for the one that you want to fix, that is just a tech use. For the other ones, it's a Medicaid test and then a tech use. Okay, so the 701 is repaired successfully. And I'm going to say actually it's just a Medicaid test instead of Medicaid and tech use.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so the other arm comes off right. First leg comes off okay. second leg comes up, like you just it's off. And you managed to also successfully get his mechanical lungs out.
Mechanicus know what they're doing with this. We can give, we can take away.
The Mechanicus giveth and the Mechanicus taketh.
And then when we have downtime, I'll get the arm that Magnus wouldn't need to be able to use implanted on me. I think it's my right arm.
Yeah,
check
that's the
that
one that
later.
Magnus has got.
Alright. Do keep in mind, for all of these cybernetics counts, they are good quality.
Oh, was that good quality lungs? I will.
No, not good quality lungs. The lungs are regular quality, but
okay.
the arms and legs are good quality. Okay, yeah. So, I'm going to say you can choose to do it with your time, but you have to essentially begin. Say that it takes Felicia about 2 weeks to get everything off properly, including with the proper rituals and everything. So that means that you have 1 more week until the Lord Inquisitor has requested you down on the planet.
If we assume that I finished it before the 2 weeks, or if I need to roll something.
If you want to assume that you did it before the entire 2 weeks, then go and roll something.
Because I need to roll to see how long I'd recover from my thingy, my new implant.
I want to install them on you right immediately.
I want to get one of the arms.
You want to install that on you. Can you install those on yourself?
Technically, I need to have someone else install it on me, but we've got a ship with doctors and stuff on it. Plus, Latilla can handle the main surgery.
Okay, so we can include that, but you need to roll in the. We're going to say that you do that at the. It was the right arm, so that's the one you fixed first. You can also immediately install it on yourself.
Okay.
So roll for recovery time. It takes you exactly that week, so you have 1 week left. Felicia has a nice new shiny arm.
Did you have to chop off your arm, or did you already have a cybernetic arm?
I didn't. I'd have had to have my arm chopped off.
Damn, girl.
I mean, Mechanicus, remember?
Still, damn,
Replace
dude.
the weak flesh.
It probably happened at the same time. It probably happened like, oh yeah, I'm also getting an auto sanguine implanted. Lop. Because I requisitioned one of them. So I went in there for one cybernetics. Like, yeah, let's just have the arm as well while we're at it.
Do you have any preference of what we do with your arm, or can we just burn it?
Or are you like Gregorius and you want to stuff it in a jar?
No, I don't want stuff anything like that in a jar.
It'll be disposed of properly.
So
It will be put on a
Incinerator?
servitor.
Why would you put a fleshy arm on a servitor though?
Because servitors are part of the organic still.
Yeah, it's more efficient to just replace, say, Servitor's broken arm with a new flesh arm than it is to waste bionics that the Servitor will inevitably need replacing anyway. Efficiency. If you don't need a Servitor to have a good arm, don't bother giving it a cybernetic arm. And Servitors don't suffer rejection, so it's fine.
Yay. So does anybody still want to do something in that remaining time?
I don't think I can requisition auto sensors for my helmet, so Until it will just help with the surgery and go back to studying Xenos.
I mean, I already made my requisitions last week, so
Yeah, so
So-
did I, and
I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
think you need
delve
to.
deeper into my conspiracy ways.
before all of this happens, so the last thing I remember happening aboard
Oh,
our
yeah.
ship was some weird freakish thing boarded my
Oh yeah,
vessel.
Synthesis
So-
Mark 5.
So I would quite
Yes.
like to know what the
It's not
fuck
fucking
this thing
creepy
is
at
doing
all.
on my ship, and what it is.
Yes.
To be Lord Inquisitor's thingy.
I believe my last thing said was, now, what the fuck are you, exactly?
Back to the scene.
I am the Synthesis Mark IV autonomous construct.
Hold up. Magnus thinks for a moment, picks up his data slate. Oh, you were Bardathrone. What do you know of Mark III?
Mark,
It sort of freezes up, and its eye goes like it changes color. Accessing data banks. Please hold.
So, a character. What happened to the thingy that we had to kill the deer? Reminded me of something because I've been playing Space Marine.
The Synthesis Mark III model was official records of the Conclave's database direct all to that the Synthesis Mark III model was captured by heretical forces and subsequently destroyed by a strike team when this particular cult was taken out.
And is that all the information you have on the Synthesis Mark III incident?
All scientists and other personnel involved in the construction and programming of the Synthesis Mark III model were also killed in the process.
And you, explain yourself, Synthesis Mark IV.
That is correct, yes.
What are you?
Mm,
I'm just gonna look at
These-
Felicia like, is that even legal?
the synthesis project is an attempt to combine the encasing of souls in mechanical constructs that, before true purpose has been activated, are guided by a high-grade servitor intelligence. This current Synthesis Mark IV model has been the first attempt in the Synthesis series to merge Eldar Wravebone with the Imperial construct.
Eldar what?
A Xenos design.
Oh,
An adaptation of Xenos material, if I may correct. Its psychoconductive qualities appear to be beneficial to the ultimate purpose of this construct.
so
GM, the big
Yes.
book of evil that Magnus has been reading, Does it mention about how chaos puts demons into machines? Like, does Magnus know of that as a thing?
It does mention the combat. It does mention as potential combat constructs used by chaos might be machines infused with significant amounts of warp energy.
How nice, it doesn't outright say demon engines.
Do I know this is with my 2 forbidden laws?
Do you have Forbidden Law Warp or Demonology or Chaos?
No, I only have forbidden law tech and adeptus mechanicus.
I have Forbidden Lore Warp and Demonology.
Sarah, I would say is that you know that chaotic energies can possess inanimate objects.
Okay. Do I need to roll? Can I roll to get more information?
No, that's the extent for the information you can
Okay.
get. Felicia, I don't think Forbidden Law Tech is going to do anything to you. As far as you're concerned, this is
It's
Bordering-
heretical either way.
it's bordering on what could potentially be an AI, but it did classify itself as a high-grade servitor intelligence.
I'm gonna watch it.
I'm just gonna say, whoa, I've heard stories about chaotic sorcerers binding demons into objects.
Do not worry about such possible complications. The litanies of the Electitio Divinitatis and sanctified materials used in the construction of this unit would make demonic possession incredibly unlikely.
And you see, my problem is that you said unlikely instead of impossible. Also, how does that react to me? Because if it's psychically active in some way, then
This construct is currently not. Do you ask that to it, or
first I watch for any
It-
sort of visible reaction, and then if there is no reaction, I will ask.
it does not give any physical reaction to your presence?
Uh,
Not more than it does to the presence of other humans.
you said that. Were you a psyker in some capacity?
This construct is currently not psychically active.
Currently, as in you could be?
If several failsafes are overwritten in case of a combat emergency, psychic activity can be channeled through the wraithbone material in this construct.
Right, well, you're not going to be doing any of that.
We do not want to risk an abominable intelligence situation.
What's an abominable intelligence?
Abominable intelligence. A synthetic intelligence cultivated to such a degree that it can match or outmatch that of human intelligence.
That sounds scary.
Forbidden, I'd rather bet. So, Synthesis Mark IV. What is your mission aboard my ship?
Currently, no mission has been assigned to this construct. Its only purpose currently on this construct is to remain hidden from any that would potentially attempt to capture this construct.
And who, pray tell, might wish to capture you?
It just goes into its database accessing mode again. It's like potential factions that might wish to acquire the Synthesis Mark IV units. Various heretical cults, Eldar, Necrons, Orcs, Tau, Crude, Despot, the Mechanicus, the Ecclesiarchy.
Yes. The
I
ones
don't
I
know.
was more
Hostess.
interested in.
I do not know half of the species he named. Surprised he hadn't said Inquisition.
He said that last.
Oh,
He was actually still going, but then Magnus interrupted him.
He's still talking though, and you've still got Felicia listening, watching the future abominable intelligence situation.
No. The moment Magnus started talking, he interrupted what he was saying. So it was like Inquisition.
That's as much as I need to know. Magnus kind of turns to the group, and this thing makes us an enemy to our own kinsmen. Now, from what I've read up, it's not unknown for inquisitorial factions to be at odds with each other, have skirmishes, but this thing, everything about it sets me on edge.
If you wish, this unit can deactivate itself until manual reactivation.
You will continue with the orders that you were given. I will not disable you at this time. I wish to speak to higher powers about you, my interesting passenger. I suggest we empty the corridor.
Usage of your wording implies that you think of the synthesis Mark IV construct as a person. Please do not.
It sets me at ease, knowing that all constructs hold within them a piece of the Omniscire, thus...
The machine spirit of this unit might be sentient, the unit itself is not.
am I the only one who finds it worrying that it is correcting us on that?
Lots of
Yes.
the more law-based units may make the corrections.
So it's normal then.
No.
Improper implications made about the Synthesis Mark IV unit might very well have it believed that it is indeed itself a heretical construct which will initiate self-destruct. It says this in a different voice, by the way.
That's
That
why,
is useful to know.
if there's reason for it to believe itself to be an abominable intelligence, it would self-destruct. Clever failsafes.
This self-destruct method will also activate in the unlikely case of chaotic corruption.
Oh, joy, because we didn't have enough on our plate already.
Magnus kind of has his left fleshy hand kind of clutching the top of his metal arm, and he's just rubbing the metal, and he looks like he's very uneasy about this thing.
The color of the eye changes again, and you see it sort of zoom in on that. It's Inquisitor, are you not at ease? Can I aid you in anything?
Yes, please.
No, I have questions for my superior, and those questions will put me at ease. However, there are things about you that I am unsure of. For example, you say that you use Eldar technology in your manufacturing, in your creation.
The Wraithbone material is notably only able to be constructed and seemingly shaped by the Eldari race. However, this unit still has components of Wraithbone in its construction to bolster its psychic defenses and possible psychic potential in case of emergency.
Please tell me Lord Inquisitor told you what we're supposed to do with that thing.
No, he did not, which is one of the reasons I have apprehensions about why it is aboard my ship.
The current mission of the Synthesis Mark IV autonomous unit is to remain hidden from any potential factions that might wish to capture this version of the Synthesis project.
With a stalking horse. They won't come looking for us.
I am, as far as possible, not to interfere with the ongoings of the crew and the rest of the ship unless ordered to do so directly by the orders of, it stands up slightly, Inquisitor Magnus Bloodstone.
You're new. No one would think that he'd trust something so important and sensitive to a new Inquisitor.
Possibly. Very well.
May I offer a potential reasoning?
Very well.
Considering that you are new to the Conclave, any potential opponents to this Conclave might not yet be aware that you are a member of it, and will therefore not pursue you with the same aggressiveness or persistence as any other Inquisitor that might be suspected of being a member of the Conclave.
Very well. You are to disguise yourself, chuck a robe over you, or put some robes on. And do you need to be in a charging point, or can I just put you in a cell and store you there? Magnus kind of rubs his temple at this point.
A mask. Make it wear a mask too, just in case.
I have a module for such an occasion. You see its head actually just move slightly back and then just into the body, and then comes out again with a synthetic mask that looks remarkably human.
Not
And bald.
exactly what I meant.
It works. It can disguise itself as a regular servitor.
Just don't do that in public.
Magnus, have you angered the Lord Inquisitor in any way?
I feel I may have done something to scorn him. I have no idea what that could be, but I will spend the next couple of weeks thinking upon it until my meeting with him. I guess. Magnus lights a low stick.
I can
Do you
find...
light it yourself, or do you light it yourself, or?
Yes, Magnus
Okay.
would light it himself.
Do you have one of those, schwanky cyber hands where there's a lighter in your thumb?
I was thinking about having my inquisitorial rosette have a lighter in it. I was thinking about
God.
that, but the amount that Magnus smokes, it probably wouldn't be a good idea. So I think he's just...
There is one Inquisitor in the Conclave that actually has that.
It would be good, but he'd accidentally
it's
get it out,
It's the Schwanky Inquisitor that Ulfstein was talking to that brought his own martini mixer.
I just thought Magnus was in the habit of, like, if Felicia's nearby, just like, can I borrow your welding torch a sec?
I imagine by now Magnus has paid whatever he needs to pay to have a little ring with a tiny bit of promethium in it that he can just push and it makes a little light. A little flame.
A gift from the Mechanicus, maybe.
Are there any further questions pertaining to the construct?
How difficult would it... Well, yeah, how difficult would it be to kill you?
What is the opponent that would be attempting to kill this construct?
Guardsmen. We'll use that as a standard. And we'll say that there'll be 6 of them.
The likely possibility of a single squad of Imperial Guardsmen destroying successfully the Synthesis Mark IV autonomous construct is 12%.
Marvelous.
I'd account that those numbers are clearly skewed by when we tested those guardsmen and they nearly killed the boss.
Oh yes, most certainly.
Then no, I do not have any more questions, but I may have in the future.
Would you like me to locate a point on the register near your standard points, Magnus, that the synthesis can pretend to be a servitor at?
I would rather it be locked away in my bridge. In a nice little cell. In my brig, not bridge. It's not on the fucking... in the brig, in a nice little cell, where it can just sit there, like Vidar did. Just sit there and just not be a problem till I drop it off.
Okay.
Do you remember what happened with Vidar when he was just sitting
We
there?
dropped him off first. Remember, we dropped him off before shit went down, so yeah.
I got to
Sure, if that's much of a consolation. We should have seen something.
Didn't he die while, wasn't it meant to be that he died while we were traveling?
Yes, that is exactly my point. We should be able to spot a dead fucking man in our brig.
He had a demon in him, and he was like in power armor, so it was like, man. And you guys, I read in the reports, he was high on chems. It's like, well, he's not just sat there. He's not just sat there. He's sat there tripping balls. Fair enough.
And then on top of that, the notes now about the red light, but none of us knew what it meant.
Exactly, because our psycho was unconscious.
And still is.
Good point. Yes, I'll have to remember that. So, yeah, Magnus doesn't have any more questions.
Very well. What is the location you would like this construct to stay at?
Shall we say Brig 2B again? That seemed like quite a nice little cell.
Mechanicus.
He's stuffing the weirdest stuff in there, yes.
Mechanicus, might I have access to your ship's... your ship's 3D map so that I might find where this brig is?
Magnus, should I give it access?
No, have a servitor show it. No offense, I just don't want you having the layout of my ship and its key
This unit is
locations.
incapable of experiencing human emotions.
Excellent. Brother Felicia, if you would call upon one of your servitors, well, one of the ship's servitors, to escort him to his quarters.
You have several servitors with you already, so you can do that right now.
Technolingua, I give them orders in half the time I give everyone else orders. Just because I have binary.
The construct also looks at you. When it does it, it just immediately starts walking after the servitor. It apparently can understand Technolingua.
It's a servitor. If it couldn't, I'd be worried.
Yeah. Also, as it walks past,
You've roboted quite bad on my end.
It's awareness test for everybody, and
except for Felicia.
And it understands Technolingua, so when I ordered a servitor to guide it, it followed the servitor immediately.
Yeah. But everybody except Felicia can make an awareness test. Because this would have been anything for Felicia.
It understands Technolingua.
This is more to do with the exterior of the machine itself. Lieutenant?
He'll be right back. So.
Yeah.
Okay. You notice that on its pauldrons, its pauldrons look like that of, or basically shaped in the way of power armor, but there are like highly. It's not actual books that are on there, but it's just sort of metal books that appear to be some sort of ornate decoration that have actual lines written on the pages. that appears to be opened on, but you cannot make out what those lines are.
That'd explain why I wouldn't look twice.
When it's really, really far away, like really, really far away, Magnus, like some of the group may try to leave, and Magnus is just going to put a hand down and just be like, no, stay there. Don't, just stay there. Gives it a good, like, minute. And then, I am very much tempted to fly our asses to Mars and hand that thing in. What exactly kind of heresy is this?
I mean,
The tech heresy kind.
assuming that we do that, it's, I think we'd have to leave the Imperium, which is not an option.
Oh no, we go up to the High Lord Inquisitor of Terra, and we go to the Fabricator General of Mars, and we plead them that we have nothing to do with.
I somehow doubt we'd get an audience with the High Lord Inquisitor himself.
So do I. I'm
Himself?
panicking.
Herself? Does anybody actually know who the High Lord Inquisitor is?
No, I only know that there is one. Funny
Actually,
thing
out
is,
of character, would we even know that the Inquisition has a place on the Council of Terra?
You know that any organization in the Imperium that is of major significance to it has a High Lord or a representative on the Council of High Lords.
So we could safely assume that.
You could safely assume that the Inquisition, being one of the most powerful organizations in the Imperium, probably has either a High Lord or a representative on the High Lords Council.
see, I just imagined that Magnus, when he was made an Inquisitor, was given like one of those diagrams that just has, High Lord Inquisitor, Lord Inquisitor, Inquisitor, and just has doesn't have any names, just has the ranks and how far down the pecking line you are. So it's like, I know there's one, don't know who he is, but
Either way, it's like we can assume that they've got one because they're so powerful if they don't have one. They can make one their puppet anyway.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of quiet, out-of-the-way covens, that could hide in.
it's like people. I'm panicking a bit here. Everything. I've grown up around the Cult Mechanicus. I respect them massively, and everything that any tech priest has ever told me is telling me that this shit is wrong. Magnus looks at Brother Felicia. Am I wrong here, Brother Felicia?
Looking the direction the robot got, eyes narrowed. I don't trust it. I dislike even more that it uses Xenos tech.
I may have been a bit premature at calling the Lord Inquisitor a saint. I was under a lot of stress, okay? That was not a...
It looks like something an explorer tour who spent too much time with a rogue trader might make.
No, great. There are rogue traders in the equation now, too.
To get the equipment for that, most certainly.
Can we get back to hunting gene stealer codes? I much prefer gene stealer codes to, well, this.
Yeah. Magnus is kind of like floundering a bit, and well, I suppose we'll just wait. I'll speak to the Lord Inquisitor, and if I come back and he seems well, I seem changed, Latilla can chuck my ass out of an airlock, and you guys run to the Sol system. Maybe.
Oh. Yes.
Latilla, and while this is going on, you quickly just have been milling over in your head what you saw on the text that was on the pauldrons of the synthesis construct. As you keep milling them over your head, those are lines directly copied from the Lectitio Divinitatis.
And I'm only rolling it because I feel left out. I'm not. I know I don't actually get to roll. I just want to roll awareness because everyone else did.
You can maybe spot something of difference.
Because I have a tell. Because I've got the ability to look in 2 directions at once.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell all that to Magnus.
And
Sarah.
free reroll. Nope.
They can place Holy Scripture upon anything.
It also had purity seals, by the way.
I
You already saw that.
just get a bad feeling. I just get a real bad feeling around that. I shouldn't have asked what it was. We should have just locked it in a cage.
Well, Magnus, if you want, I can come down with you.
Oh no, you'll stay aboard the ship. If when I speak to the Lord Inquisitor in 3 weeks' time. Is it 3 weeks?
For you now, still is 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks' time. When I come back, if I am not myself, then by all means, pump me out of an airlock and flee to the Sol system. If he enlightens me as to what is going on, then I will try to reassure you all that there is no heresy afoot here, but it definitely feels that way. Well,
Robot.
I guess back to work, people, and I look forward to seeing your reports on the cybernetics, Brother Felicia. Try not to focus too much on the thing that has made its home here for now.
Unless anybody wants to approach it in the next 3 weeks, it literally just stays in a. It just literally stays in a corner of the cell, and when somebody attempts to look into the cell, it stands behind the door so people don't see it. And it appears to also have at least put itself on a sort of low power mode.
All the things that mean it. No, barely anybody sees it.
Like literally, you need to know it is there in order to see it.
Yeah, and Felicia does the whole ripping the guy's arms and legs and bionic lungs out.
Magnus gets very drunk the night that the synthesis comes aboard. He'll be in his study, and he will be getting very, very drunk.
Everything that gets found, it's like all of the messages go forward to Magnus. Do you want this? It's like once it's all come out, Magnus, would you like this? And then it's like, yeah, he's drunk. He doesn't want it anyway. Because I assume Magnus eventually responds when he's sober.
Oh yeah, once he's only going to get drunk the first night. He's got 3 weeks to sit in his study and go through.
He's
papers.
not opted.
No. He has. Don't get me wrong. He has an amasec in the evening, but he only gets actually drunk at certain times.
Also, the first day, you wouldn't be ripping pieces out. You would still be repairing the foot style.
And I mean, like, once it's all been repaired.
Yeah. So that is well after the night Magnus has got just shit-faced.
Probably threw up a couple of times. Carried on drinking.
And there we went.
He drops again.
I actually got lots of cybernetics at this point. I need more.
So I believe, unless Sarah wanted to do anything in those 3 weeks,
Probably attempt another painting, because that's all I seem to be doing these days.
What are you gonna try to paint?
Oh, I'm gonna try and recapture Lord Inquisitor's golden might, because that's
I'm gonna
definitely an image that got burnt into my head.
For reasons unbeknownst to you, you have a +10 to this test,
That's 30 and 75 then.
which makes that 5 degrees of success.
Mm-hmm. Still with the best paints. So that would make it what quality?
What was the one that was near unique at? How many?
That
Give me a
was
sec.
like
I
5
think it's
on
minus-
65?
Yeah, I think it's -50 if you're getting a near unique requisition.
Uh,
Yeah, near unique requisition is -50.
How many degrees of success did Sarah score?
I am looking at the. Oh god, not that far, please.
In the future, you need to just record how many degrees you got on the paintings. Then we can make a little chart.
I believe that was 4 on 65.
I thought
That was
you
the
got
4 on a 6. Oh yeah, that was like.
I thought you got a critical to get your near unique.
No, I
He-
don't think
he-
I got a
he-
critical.
He got between a 1 and a 5, which is a
I
near
think
crit.
that was 4 on 65.
Yeah, that was a near crit. So
I'm just gonna put it in the brackets that.
we'll say this is it's a good painting. So we'll call it a scarce.
Okay.
You can requisition more las round.
Oh, I do not wish last rounds. I wish a silver shield.
Actually, just try to make it rare.
Okay. This one maybe I will actually fence.
Hey, a +30 for a las lock.
Why would I need a Laslock, silly?
Do you want me to take it to the Lord Inquisitor? Be like, sir, my acolyte made this painting of you. She would really like a silver shield. A non-heretical one.
Oh god.
Yes, add that in case he actually is a heretic. I don't say that.
But you actually take the painting down with you?
I mean, maybe?
I'm gonna put it this way: that if you gift items to people, you might get influence with them.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Getting
I-
Pierre the old-fashioned way.
This one I'm actually gonna get.
Getting Pierre the way you'd think you'd actually get it, by earning it.
I'm gonna take it down to planet. With me. I mean, I'm gonna have servitors take it down the planet with me, but you know,
So you're going to Magnus down
the
to the planet.
delicate servitors that will not destroy it.
Do you believe synthesis?
The ones with
Do we
scissors in their
have
hands.
to?
You don't have to. Magnus decides who can go.
Is the synthesis going with us? If we all go?
Like, fuck it is.
If Magnus says it needs to come with you, it is.
Or does
If Magnus does not say, it stays in the cell.
Or does Magnus want someone to guard the synthesis?
Oh, I imagine that Latilla has already set up like firing lines and overlapping fire and a full-on perimeter around. That's why she's head of security, or the second of security, second in
Going
command.
for overkill even by Imperium standards.
No, not just firing lanes. I also set up explosives everywhere. Also high and back.
Hey.
Okay. So, I think we're going to skip forward to when you are going down to the planet. Magnus, who do you want to bring with you, or do you want to bring any items along with you as well? But I'm not on your person already, by that I mean.
Well, I will give it that perhaps in 2 weeks I've seen Sister Sarah, and she's mentioned that I did a painting of the Lord Inquisitor. So if Sarah wants to come and gift it to him, then by all means she can, or I can take it and give it to him.
I will appear personally, I think.
Very well. By all means, you may accompany me. And Magnus will let anyone else know if they want to accompany him. They may.
I'll ask Magnus if he wants me to come down, but I think it would be wise to have at least one of the commanding officers.
By all means, Sister Latilla, if you feel you are best served on board the ship, then that's fine by me.
To be honest, I do not wish to leave you alone down there. We don't know what might happen, but who's to tell that, well, things might not go wrong down there and then subsequently in the ship, depending how far I escape.
I've got Sister Sarah to watch my back. I'm sure I'll be fine.
You could never go wrong with a sister.
That is true.
Magnus says under his breath and not on comms, especially when the said sister dulls the Lord Inquisitor's power even a slight bit.
Magnus.
Magnus, do you wish for me to be there in case you need any technology, or would you prefer that I maintain the ship?
By all means, Brother Felicia, I know you've been working diligently on the cybernetics. If you feel you need the extra time to ready the ship, then that is your decision.
The crew should be prepared. I shall come with you.
Very well. Magnus will also order a servitor to take a glass of Amasec and place it next to the old man's bed.
The doctors have actually attempted to wake him up by just putting a straight up bottle of Amasec next to his bed.
Just the aroma. Let the aroma come out. It might just bring
It
it
has
back
gone
to
to
us.
the extent where they literally grabbed an Amasec bottle and just put a sort of the perfume spray thing just on the bottle and started spraying it a bit.
Ah, excellent. Make sure they keep the candles out when they do that.
They use electronic lighting.
It's an infirmary, and you've got both a sister hospitaller and a mechanics chirurgeon on your ship.
It's 40k. They like atmosphere. They like flickering candlelight.
Yeah, but we're not wasting candles. We can have great, unfailable electronic lighting. The machine spirit of the ship does everything for us.
I'll have some candles just in case.
Okay then. Then we head down to the lander and back to the planet.
Alright. You fly down to the planet again, and this time at the landing platform in the spire, the Lord Inquisitor is there waiting for you alongside two of those very large men with the sort of gun helmets in their ornate power armor.
Magnus bows slightly to the Lord Inquisitor.
He
my
bows
lord.
respectfully back.
Sign of the Omniscire and bow as normal.
He makes a sign of the Aquila, not the Lord Inquisitor makes a sign of the Aquila, not the Omniscire, but
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
We're both giving each other a sign of respect.
Inquisitor. I'm glad you could make it again. Shall we get to the elevator?
But of course, my lord.
Alright then. He and his guards lead you to the elevator again. After which, again, the week-long journey down begins.
During the week-long journey, my lord, one of my acolytes here, Sister Sarah, in fact, is quite the artist. The God Emperor has given her many gifts, and I believe she has something that she would like to show you.
Huh. I am intrigued.
This way, my lord. I must admit, our last encounter has made me somewhat, let's just say that a particular image got burned into my mind, and I could not help myself but to keep it on the canvas. Like the servitors have, oh god, they put down the painting, and I just take the, oh god, the cloth from it,
Yes.
like it was,
Yes.
so
You
I
had cloth
just pull
dragged
it
over
down.
it, you just
Yeah, I pull it down.
And the Lord Inquisitor's hand goes to his chin, and the other hand goes to his elbow. He just kind of just stares there at it. Just, this is quite an impressive artwork.
Thank you, my lord. I was not sure if I could even manage the exquisite of that particular form.
And this was done from memory.
Yes.
How long did it take you to paint this particular picture?
Can you repeat that? There was a bit of a lag on my end.
How long did it take you to paint this?
I'm gonna roll for that, actually.
Sure.
I'm gonna roll a d7. I don't know, maybe.
Would you say you worked 1 week on this or 2? Because, what was the time?
Probably closer to 2. Like, not
that-
full 2 weeks, but
Roll me 2d7.
2d7.
So 11 days.
11 days.
Uh-huh.
2 weeks, my lord.
I was almost going to suggest that I model for you, but perhaps we do not have the time for that.
I'm afraid it is a bit of a time-consuming process.
Plus, I assume you did not bring your materials with you.
I did not expect that would be an option, my lord. His connection really is absolute ass today.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Let me
nearly
put it
as bad as
this way.
Comcast.
I do not always feel the need to be modest. If I am always too modest, it might seem false modesty, and false modesty suits nobody.
Well, I'm honored that you like it, my lord.
Is this something you would like to keep for your own personal collection, or?
No, my lord, if you wish it, you can take it by all means.
I shall indeed take it. I have an office on this planet. I think I will place it there as a token of respect to your skills.
You do me great honor, my lord.
The honor is all mine, Sister Sarah.
At that I bow.
He nods his head respectfully back at you. Does anybody else want to do something?
I
mean,
would probably ask the High Lord to go to one side and, my lord, I have questions about synthesis.
Ah, yes. What questions might those be?
One, the fact that its mission was to hide from the enemy, and then when I asked it to designate this enemy,
Not necessarily enemy.
well, it
Okay.
designated all Imperial factions, almost. The Mechanicus, and I believe I cut it off at in, but I can fill in the rest.
Yes, it is. No doubt that even within most factions of the Imperium, there are again sub-factions within those. Just to be on the safe side, I have designated it to remain hidden from the majority of these major factions.
Right, so I would like to roll scrutiny, fellowship, on that part to see if he's sincere, basically.
He appears not to be lying. He appears to be
And
speaking the truth.
the other thing that brings alarm from my time spent learning from the cult Mechanicus, how have you used Wraithbone-like materials? This is
Not
clearly against the Mechanicus's
As
codes.
Inquisitors, especially as Lord Inquisitor myself, we have the unique privilege to be allowed to attempt to advance Imperial technology. So often this is met with severe criticism from the majority of the Mechanicus. There are within the Mechanicus itself also factions that wish that the Mechanicus would stop simply replicating and start advancing its technological progress again. I myself have several contacts within the Ordo Joras itself that are of this same opinion, as are Mechanicus members of my conclave as well. The usage of Wraithbone. Wraithbone is indeed a material that has only so far ever been observed to be able to be created, shaped, and used by the Craftworld Eldari. So I have spent, and my associates as well, have spent a significant amount of time studying in just exactly what this material is and what its capabilities are. both in order to further protect its imperial military and other assets against enemies using the materials, as well as the potential application and merging with imperial technology for the betterment of the Imperium of Man.
And although I know most of that is true for Magnus, I'll roll scrutiny.
He appears to be again speaking the truth.
Forgive me my questioning, my lord, but there were several things that I needed to be sure of, and you have indeed put many of those issues at ease.
You also have my thanks, Inquisitor, for allowing it on your ship. The fact that it had been previously taken from its storage on this very planet means that its existence might be known to several alien or chaotic factions that might wish to acquire it to attempt to corrupt it for their own purposes. It is for this reason it needs to be hidden.
I will do my absolute to ensure that it remains hidden. However, where are we to take it to?
You were not necessarily meant to take it to anywhere, but I imagine factions will attempt to track down its origin point, which will be this planet, or my conclave. You are new. Just as long as you stay on the move, you will not be the main target of any potential covert infiltration. And if you are, even though it is not necessarily a combat machine, it is thoroughly capable of defending itself. Its equipment should, well, simulations have shown that it technically should be able to hold its ground against an Adeptus Astartes. Not necessarily overpower the Space Marine, but able to hold its ground no less.
Very well, my lord. I shall ensure that nothing happens to Synthesis, and that it remains in Imperial hands.
Thank you, Magnus.
Magnus will, if the Lord Inquisitor doesn't have anything else to say, Magnus will kind of excuse himself, go into another room. He'll microbead the tower or whoever's in charge and get a message sent up to the Storm Shield to inform Latilla to essentially have that thing follow it around. I'm sorry. The message says he'll explain when he gets back on board. Can you please have our guest escort you around, but act as your new servitor? Look, we know of assassins that could fool. Well, Magnus knows of assassins could fool our detection grid.
We know the equipment exists. We have it now.
Yeah, so it's like, well, balls. Sister Sarah's gonna hate me next.
Why?
Following her around.
Sister Sarah, once we get aboard the Storm Shield, Synthesis will be assigned to you. I would wish that it stay in or around your quarters to ensure that your abilities can protect it, especially whilst we are in the warp.
You do realize that is... My abilities are not exactly that far-reaching, shall we say.
Well, if it is close to you, it will be better hidden, would it not? I do apologize, and I will make up for it one day, but,
I'm going to remember this.
I know.
This prey is gonna be less... It is gonna be less problematic than the old man.
I imagine your next piece will have something to do with betrayal, with backstabbery, or some such thing. I'm quite prepared.
Also, I'm not quite sure if there's anything that could be worse than the old man. At the very least, the drain of resources that he seems to be regularly. I'm sure the ship's AMASEC supply has dropped by half since in the weeks that we had him first aboard.
You'd be surprised how much of Miss Alona's personal supply I requisitioned. We'll be fine. I'm
But
quite
I am
sure.
not sharing quarters with it. Forget about it.
It'll be assigned. Well, I suppose it could be assigned next door to you, or the room adjoining.
You do realize that we would still have to sleep wall to wall if my abilities were to have any effect in case of emergency.
Oh, and it will. It will. If it's a servitor. If it has to, it will stand up against the adjoining wall. That may be an uncomfortable thought for you. I understand this, but
Now you're really pushing it.
the God Emperor puts many trials upon many souls, sister. This will be your trial for the duration of its stay aboard our vessel.
Fine. It's not like I can refuse.
Magnus will just be like, thank you, sister. I would hate to have to make it an order.
Can't we just strap a null rod to it? Just a thought.
I don't believe that would hide it. From what I've read of no rods, that just prevents a psyker from, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, using his powers. I admit I glossed over a few words in the big book.
You do realize that I do exactly that.
Yes,
Right.
but you don't give it a power field if you get suborned.
Plus, your eyes on. Someone I trust who, if you call for aid, every Militarum member aboard the ship will come to your aid. I'm sure it'll be fine. You've used servitors before, have you not?
And machines willing, you can inform us in the event of something going wrong. A null rod can't.
The Lord Inquisitor liked your painting, it seems.
Oh, don't try to butter it up now, Magnus. I had little exposure to servitors, but this
If it truly bothers
is
you,
no servitor.
if it truly bothers you so much, I can watch it. It's distasteful as it is, and then even without your help, I'm sure I will spot any changes before they go too far.
And remember, sister, if you are to be doing research, you'll be in my study, where I will most likely be as well. So,
That is true. I should really get my own library rather than squatting in your office.
Well, then that may be the payment for such a dutiful job that you'll be doing.
I might take you up on that, Magnus. I may just take you up on that. Very well. Let us. The sooner we start, the sooner it's going to be hopefully over with.
I guess this happens like the first day of the elevator. So we've got another 2 days to go.
The elevator ride from hell.
So we have small talk, more small talk. Occasionally, Felicia having a slight look at the elevator, but she's already seen it.
See, you've seen it once now. You can appreciate the finer details.
I did that the first time. Don't forget, I have a telescopic sight.
That is.
I come with my own microscope.
And telescope.
I got like everything here. If I wanted to, I could maintain it.
Are you gonna live in this elevator now? If everything goes
No.
wrong.
Nah, because I lack the mechadendrite to clamp myself to the side if the elevator starts falling. I also lack the mechadendrite to open fire or anything that attacks me.
Do you have a weapon mechadendrite yet?
No.
Well, you should. You should get like a plasma mechadendrite.
I can't. I can get a las pistol.
Why can't you just get a plasma pistol? Because it's any pistol class weapon, isn't it?
No, it functions as a las pistol but doesn't require charging. It's crazy that theoretically I can be a walking armory without carrying my armory if I get all the mechadendrites. But yeah, it's just a las pistol but doesn't have to be charged. So infinite bullets. It's also like if we were to be like, yeah, I use heretical mechadendrites. I think we could go the what's it called one where you're playing as the bad guys, and I can get the stabby mechadendrite.
Black Crusade or Dark Crusade.
Yeah. Instead, I just got a chain scalpel and a ridiculously hot welding torch.
I think it's something like an excruciator mechadendrite or something. I don't remember the name.
Shall we move on?
Yep.
Right. So, does anybody else want to do something in the elevator?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just going to point out, I feel dumb because earlier I could have re-rolled it another time, but I didn't. Oh well, too late now.
Mm.
It's great when you have a rule that you forgot you had months ago.
Yes, that happens. It's the same with your power blade. In any case. Back on the ship. If that is how you wish to designate me as, I shall allow you to refer to me as that designation. Back to the elevator. You're almost there.
Wait, so how did we call him?
You can technically reach the ship, but Magnus called like the tower and had the tower relay it.
No, I was asking, so what do we get to call synthesis?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, Latilla's just calling it Synthy. If Felicia, it'll end up being like unit, and then eventually whatever number's written on its chassis.
The numbers written on the chassis are the Mark IV.
So it ended up being Unit 4.
Yeah. The elevator gets to its end designation point again, and the doors open, and the Inquisitor and his guards again lead you out to the room with the weird chair in the middle, and there are again a couple of the Null Maidens standing around. Now, Magnus, do you wish to take a seat again, or shall we move on to something else?
Magnus the Brave.
Magnus the YOLO.
It's 40k. You don't live once. You live as many times as the Emperor allows you to.
I'm just thinking if Magnus really needs to do this again, and sure, he will step forwards again, and although I had a sense of what this machine was about, I believe I'd like to experience it again.
Suddenly Chaos Gate.
Okay. You take a seat in a chair then.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Those not around.
You sit down. You close your eyes. The Lord Inquisitor stands before you, but this time he stands further away. He simply says, "Focus inward." Make me a willpower test.
Ooh.
You start to focus deeper and deeper in until suddenly you open your eyes and you are once again in that. It feels as if it is essentially you are inside your own mind. Well, hello. What do you want here? And out of the fog that surrounds this weird, circle area, again steps something that looks like you. Although this time it is noticeably where it is actually slightly lankier than you. Ah. Hello there. Let me ask you. You seem to be unwilling to respond. Why are you here? Do you have doubts about your current path? Do you feel as if people are plotting against you? Why are you here? Or am I not who you wish to talk to?
Yes.
This?
I think he's purposely keeping silence. The mirror image of you walks closer. Stoic, are we not?
I do have answers, but
Answers.
yes,
Answers.
I
That's
have
such
answers for
questions.
you.
Ah. So what do you wish to tell me?
You wish to look for doubt within a mind full of doubt. You already know that I don't trust myself. That is why I rely on the people around me. So of course,
What if you can't trust them?
then we all die. But yet, here I stand. So I wish to tell you that you have no place here.
I have no place here. That is quite curious considering I am you.
And yet not. Magnus looks up. You appear to have had a growth spurt.
Yes. Perhaps you are indeed full of doubt. Do you not feel as if contingencies, plans, plots need to be put in place to protect you and those around you? What if you are being deceived? Do you not require the means to safeguard yourself or those you love or care about?
I have bumbled my way this far, and the God Emperor has willed me to continue, has protected me and...
So you are content to merely act as a puppet of fate?
I will act how the God Emperor deems me.
And
He
what if it
uses
is not
me
the
as a
Emperor,
blade.
guys?
Yet I am sentient. If he does not wish me to carry on, he will allow me to fall.
You are more than a mere tool, more than a mere weapon. You could be the master of your own destiny. You know this. Why do you refuse to understand it?
I would be lost. That is why. When one has his own destiny and can control his own movements, that man normally becomes lost on the path to corruption, greed, and to fall from the God Emperor's light.
God Emperor this, God Emperor that.
Would you prefer the Omnisire?
You know that you might be an inquisitor, but have you looked perhaps at how others have accomplished glory? Have you not considered perhaps what you call now your enemy, Salvatore Cone, what he has accomplished by simply taking hold of destiny himself. He builds a legacy from scrap.
And he will watch it be ground to dust under the God Emperor's boot.
I really wish you would stop speaking the anathema's name.
The God Emperor seems to cause you much discomfort, which brings me great joy, because I love the God Emperor, for he watches over me, and he has even allowed for 2 of his brides, the brides of the Emperor, to stand by my side in battle. I am loved by the God Emperor, and thus I love him back. Now I cast you back into the shadows, you miserable disgrace of an imitation.
You see the creature sprout wings of flame, just wings consistent of like ethereal flame, but also grow smaller. You are more than a puppet of fate. Even if you deign yourself nothing more than a puppet of fate, think about whose puppet you truly are. The Emperor is not all powerful. You have seen where his light cannot reach. You have been on a world out of his grace, and you saw that still things existed there.
And yet we brought the Emperor's light to that place. We came and he protected us, and we slew that vile filth. Without so much as a scratch, and Magnus bows.
Enough. You see a fireball conjured up in this creature's hand. Roll me a willpower test.
I like how this conversation was essentially help saying that word, and Magnus went, God Emperor, God Emperor, God Emperor.
Can I use a fate point to re-roll?
You may use a fate point to re-roll. No, actually, let me check something with you. I need to quick because you can't sheet.
Resistant psychic powers, resistance fear.
Emperor's Blessing. What does that do again?
Makes me an Inquisitor, essentially.
Okay. Gothic, Burial Guard, Archaeotech. Yeah, no, you're gonna need the fate points, yeah.
Righto. Come on, Biggie. No!
The fireball just washes over you. Roll 1d5.
Character if only Magnus had Will of the Inquisitor.
You take 4 corruption. See, not even in your own mind can your emperor protect you.
And yet I still stand, do I not?
Your insistence is annoying. It conjures up another fireball. Roll willpower again.
I wonder, if you keep failing, does that mean you'll eventually turn into a demon?
I will use a fate point on that.
Okay.
Fortunately, I have a stockpile that I have not used in 2 weeks.
I have to admit, I'm just
You
like
succeed. As you stare at the fire in his hands, you stare intensely, and suddenly the fire turns from a vile, shifting dark color to just pure gold. And no longer seems to be turned against you, but burns the creature's own hands. What did you just do?
I asked the God Emperor to protect.
That is my power. I know I am a part of you, but that is my power. Roll me 1d4. 1d5. Yeah, 1d4. 1d4.
I'm just loving that the whole my joke might actually be slightly accurate.
You lose 2 corruption. Well then, if you can accept this power, perhaps I will consider you have won this argument. We are one and the same. So in that, I shall embrace you. The creature moves forwards and essentially just a very rough hug. Roll me willpower.
I raise my hand out in front of it as it tries to hug me, and I want to try and conjure up a light ball if I...
Roll willpower.
What the Desilium Power Blade is for, exactly.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
occasions.
He does not have his weapons here.
I will
I'm the one
use
with the
one
power
of
blade
fate
anyway.
point.
But yeah, I'm still liking that I might actually be slightly relevant with I am a shadow, the true self. Oh, that sucks.
Oh yeah, I have the Specialist
So
First
close.
Blade, not the Desilium.
I am gonna say, because you had an earlier success, that you succeed in this still, because the threshold was lower. So as you hold out your hand in front, it walks into your hand, but as it does, it just your hand suddenly is enveloped in golden flame, and it burns your face off this creature. It starts twisting, whirling. Its face seems to be made now of the golden fire as it just burns in its entirety. And then the fire is still there when the creature is gone. This golden fire, it does not hurt you, but it is enveloping your hand. What do you do?
Magnus will bring his hand that's on fire close to him, make a clenched fist, and then make half the sign of the Aquila on his chest.
Half the sign of the Aquila? Huh?
Yeah, so the Aquila, you use 2 hands, you put them together.
Okay,
So
you do
he's
only
just-
one.
Yeah.
Because he's attacking with the other one.
No, so it's the flaming hand that goes onto his chest in the sign of the half
Oh.
Aquila.
The flame slowly creeps up the rest of your body. It does not seem to burn you. It does not cause you pain. Roll me 1d2.
Pray for 2.
Cleansing fire of the warp.
You lose 2 corruption.
Does this make Magnus a blank slate again?
Yup.
The fire is now fully enveloping you. And sort of the fog starts essentially becoming a large mirror dome where you can see yourself. The fire has now fully enveloped you. And what you can see is yourself enveloped in this flame, reflected. But the flames do not merely cover your body, they start growing outward into wings behind you, wings of golden holy flame.
You're a psyker, Magnus.
If I only know how right you are.
Wait, really?
Magnus, do you start closing your eyes or shutting yourself off from this image, or do you keep staring back at it?
Magnus, probably not knowing, not knowing what's going on, kind of. Magnus wouldn't close his eyes because then he wouldn't know what's coming to get him. You close your eyes and you get shot. You don't know what it. So he'd keep his eyes open, not really knowing if there were any ramifications.
What you see is that now the fog, it is still reflecting your image, but it rolls closer to you. It moves closer to you. It starts creeping up your feet. It envelops you. But the flames are still there. And even though the fog is around you, you still know instinctually that you are protected by these flames. And then, in a flash of bright light, it is as if all the fog burns away around you. The flames also stop covering you. And you are awake. You see the Null Maidens again standing in a circle around you as you sit on the chair. And you see the Lord Inquisitor with his guards standing near your acolytes. Will you please roll me a 1d4? You now count as a bound psyker with a psi rating of 1.
That's good.
Yeah,
Holy
really
shit.
good.
Hot diggity damn.
You get the Psyker aptitude.
I was not expecting that.
That means you've actually got to replace another aptitude, so you might want to put in one like a bracket or a plus and Psyker.
If you still have the general, just delete the general
Yeah,
one.
okay.
Yeah, he's already got his 8th aptitude.
Oh yeah, because he's the Inquisitor. An Inquisitor
Then-
gets another aptitude.
And added dash and put.
For the people around Magnus, while this was happening, we're going to quickly cut to what you were all doing. You see Magnus just sitting in the chair, mumbling. You see him talking. You see also there are devices in the room that are like regulating his heartbeat, but there's also one that shows like a weird wavy pattern that is not like akin to what his heartbeat should be.
What is that for?
It is that is to measure his mental activity.
As in the brain, or?
His brain waves, but also possibly psychic activity.
And monitoring his soul.
Magnus is not a psyker. I mean, unless he would not manifest death yet.
To some degree, all human beings, except gnolls, are capable of emitting some psychic potential. Too small to notice or to manifest anything for most. Those who are more notable are then called psychers, who are able to actually fully manifest this potential. It is like a natural talent to them. Consider it a genetic quirk. Some people might be more talented for sports, some more for learning, and some just have the talent that they can tap into the warp.
So, in a strictly theoretical scenario, most of humanity could potentially be psychers.
Yes,
Well, wouldn't that be a train wreck?
most likely yes. Most would not be able to control this power. Most would not have the discipline to control this power. But then you see the wavy thing start, the monitor would start beeping, and the wavy pattern starts changing. It starts becoming more erratic.
I medicate perception Magnus.
He seems to be in slight distress. You don't need to roll for this. He seems to be in slight distress, but not like mental distress, not like actual physical distress.
What is that machine doing to him?
It is testing him.
Testing him how?
Do you know the saying, "We all have our own demons"?
I have heard it, yes.
In a sense, this device focuses the soul that you may learn to tame your own demons.
So would like amplifies negative emotions?
Not just the negative, it amplifies both your positive characteristics and your negative characteristics. And what happens in that chair is that you get to make the choice what to embrace.
So
Magnus is fighting himself in there.
Yes.
I see. And what would happen if a null were to be connected into that machine?
Unless I reverse the polarity, absolutely nothing.
Sarah will give him a little smirk like, oh, you're going with that trope.
If I reverse the polarity, the Blackstone would cast a particularly large null field.
Blackstone? Never
Yes.
heard of such a material.
It is what psychic lenses or sight dampeners are made of. They're essentially the same thing depending on the charge that runs through them.
Material used for making null rods? I did not realize it could be scaled up so well.
It is not exactly the same material as null rods. The beeping of the machine stops and the wave starts to become easier again, and Magnus's body seems to relax more. Then his body seems to again sort of tense up, and you see the Lord Inquisitor get really focused on Magnus. So do the Null Maiden around him. A few of them even draw their swords. And then you see his eyes open without you notice he's not really there, but his eyes open nonetheless, and just a golden flash comes out of him, and then they close again.
Do I see the golden flash or not?
You see the golden flash.
Okay, that is... why did he just do that?
Oh, this is extraordinary. Out of that, Magnus wakes up. This is...
How
That is...
Magnus just starts looking around the room, just in a bit of a daze, like.
You still have sort of the feeling of the fire surrounding your hand, your body. It's almost the fact that, like, you want to recapture that.
Oh, I think I know what power that was.
So Magnus is looking at his hand and seems to be almost playing with something, and then
Roll me willpower.
sure.
Oh, god damn it, we'll go to roll agility.
Well, Magnus, I hope you enjoyed having decent rolls against me, because nevermore.
You suddenly just focus on your hand, and suddenly, in your hand appears a tiny golden flame. The Null Maiden just all stand back. They just all take a step back, and the Lord Inquisitor just immediately takes 2 forward.
Magnus lights a glow stick and then puts it out.
Best use of holy flames ever.
Yep.
He grabs one of the holy sanctified ones from Sister Latilla and lights it up and then puts it out, like the flame.
You can do that.
I don't understand.
That is truly remarkable. That is incredibly remarkable.
How Magnus like looks, kind of realizing what he just did, kind of looks back at the chair, and then looks round and looks at Sister Sarah and Brother Felicia. And how is it possible for me to have done that?
You're a psyker now?
That is just astounding. You see the Lord Inquisitor visibly sort of flabbergasted. It's like, he did not expect this.
Fool's playing with the warp, and you got a positive effect from it.
Not fools playing with. You have managed to not merely. You faced a darker side of you again. 2 times you have now succeeded in the test, but I did not expect you to succeed this well. You have apparently overpowered this darker side of you to such an extent that it has fused back with you. Its powers are now yours, but incredible. You are ascending faster than even my wife did.
I'm very confused, and I have an inkling that I need to now read more books.
Is he gonna sprout golden wings too?
Eventually, maybe.
So I have... Huh. This is this is not as...
I had expected it if you had succeeded this test. Perhaps your strength of will or your intellect would have been improved, but this is truly a remarkable effect.
This is quite something to adjust to. Apologies. I feel this is going to take some getting used to.
Most certainly, that is to be expected. But do you know? It took me less time to achieve that point at which you are now, but it took my wife 20 years. It took Lumen 30 years to reach where you are now.
Ah, bollocks, this just reinforces Magnus is going to become a proper weird character at one point. I have always been under the assumption that no man survives as many conflicts as I have been on, unless the God Emperor wishes him to carry on. I'm beginning to believe that a little bit more than a guardsman should, in a way. Magnus has a smile on his face, and
Magnus, I truly believe I have underestimated the importance you could have to my plans. You are undoubtedly so chosen. Come. I know this might be much to adjust to, but perhaps I was not first going to show you the full extent, but I believe I should now. Follow me.
very well, my lord. Magnus looks at his two acolytes and follows the Lord Inquisitor.
He leads you to a set of doors which you've not been previously through, which leads to a long hallway, and then another few sets of doors, until you eventually reach a properly sealed large bulkhead. Like, this bulkhead looks large enough that it could fit a out of character perspective, this bulkhead looks large enough that it could fit a dreadnought through it.
Are we here too? Following?
Yes, you're there too,
I
following
assume, unless Lord Inquisitor says no further.
Angus. He is basically a leftist to Magnus. If Magnus wants you guys to come, you can come.
Yeah, by all means, Magnus would definitely feel like he needs to, though there are some people who are 100% not just looking for him for plans.
Sarah will try and keep more distance from Magnus than usual, because apparently he's a psyker now.
I would imagine, actually, as a new psyker, like a new sense has been opened, which is very alien and very odd. I would imagine Sister Sarah's blocking that out, and the other Null Maidens wouldn't be as bad for someone who's not used to being connected to the warp, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like, normally Sister Sarah already sort of permeates that thing like, ugh. But
I don't actually have that talent that affects negotiation.
yeah,
I mean,
it's the mere presence of gnolls that makes people like.
I roar like everybody knows you're just by you existing.
Yeah, and it's slightly more intense now, but it's not overwhelming. As the Null Maidens, they also stay far enough away. They stay in that room, actually. The two large guards, the four large guards, there were four of them, they also follow you, but they stay at the door as the Lord Inquisitor leads you in, as the lights in the room, boom, 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 boom. Oh, yeah, they start emitting lights. And what you see is a room. A large room in which there are, on the three sides you can see, four sort of stasis units. on each side. And you notice 2 of them are empty. The light has not yet reached far enough that you can fully see what is in the other ones properly. And the bulkhead closes behind you. The guards stay outside. I think it is fair that if I am to catch you up to speed of what we're planning, you know this conclave's true purpose. You know that we are attempting to restore Lorgar Aurelian back to the material universe. And for that purpose, alongside the Ascendancy Project, alongside the Legion Project, the center point of what needs to be done for this plan to succeed. The lights start shining brighter, is the Synthesis Project. As you can now clearly see that in all except cells labeled 3 and 4, there is a machine construct. And it goes all the way up to a number 12 that appears to be not entirely finished yet. These are so far all the prototypes made. Prototype number 3 had to be destroyed as it fell into enemy hands. Prototype number 4 is currently on board your ship. These are the vessels we are attempting to create that Lord Aurelian might inhabit to anchor his soul back to the material universe.
Because one construct was not creepy enough.
Excuse me, what was that?
Nothing, my lord.
No, please. Speak up.
Your constructs do make me a bit uneasy.
I would imagine so.
I spoke out of turn, excuse me, my lord.
No worry.
So, I don't know about Wraithbone, their Sentinel Warriors, their constructs that they insert a Eldar's soul into. I wouldn't know about that. So, looking upon this...
You notice also that even though Construct 3 and 4 are missing, you notice that the Construct 1 just looks like a particularly high-grade servitor. Project 2 looks like slightly more advanced, slightly more articulated. Number 3 you don't see. Number 4 is on your ship. Number 5, yes?
Would I know about, or would Magnus know about gene-grown humans? That humans can be grown in vats, they can be made very large, and basically improved upon.
So, like cloning?
Not so much cloning. If I start with the vat
Krieg.
humans,
Pretty much like the entirety of the death corpse of that grown from babies. That you spend pretty much all of your young life being taught that your
Yeah, but
ancestors
that's not quite what he means, though, I think.
well, if Magnus knows about vat-born humans that can be born in vats, and he knows about Astartes,
I mean, there's that one,
I can-
human strain of Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
that
Well-
they are essentially vat grown.
They are also permanently cursed with the same bad luck as the Lamentus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, we're actually saying that we've mentioned 2 guard regiments. I'll roll Imperial Creed to see if I know about that from my time in the guard. No. My lord, this seems intriguing, but can the son of the Emperor, can his immortal soul truly exist in such a construct? I mean, from the legends passed down, the Primarchs were greater than the Astartes, and the Astartes leave me in awe.
Yes. Unfortunately, the first projects were incredibly unsuccessful in this. Number 3 was more successful, but was corrupted. We then decided that the manner in which we decided the first 3 was not to be again applied to the next generations of the project, for fear that it would leave it too open to corruption. So, with the Mark IV, we attempted to use something different, namely a higher degree of sanctification, but also the use of Wraithbone. Though it is not of human origin, the material allows souls or warp energy to flow more freely through the construct, which we hoped initially would be able to channel his soul, but it was not powerful enough. Projects 5 and 6 were then made to enhance this capability, where Project 6 proved to be capable of, well, containing the average soul, but the body itself would not survive. You can see that number 6 is a heavily damaged construct. It's not destroyed, but heavily damaged on the outside. So we then started looking for ways to create a more powerful body, which were versions 7 to 9, in which we introduced varying amounts of technologies to enhance the strength and combat capabilities of the machine without requiring the user to channel more of his soul into the construct. Though effective, but it was not enough. So in projects 10 to 12, we have attempted our most daring combination yet. Project 10 was not quite so successful. Project 11 showed more promise, and Project 12 at the moment seems to be the pinnacle of what we can currently create, where we have managed to acquire some of the material known as living metal, necrodermis, to enhance the body that will be inhabited. The soul will be contained and channeled through the soul stone and wraithbone within the construct itself. Most of the automated functions will be regulated to a high-class servitor intelligence. Necrodermis will keep the body together, and all of it will be controlled by the soul of Lorgar Aurelian.
My lord, although I would march into the Eye of Terror to reclaim any of the lost sons, especially Lorgar, I mean, but is this body, is this construct, would you be happy being is there any way to communicate with our Lord? Is there, like Magnus again seems to be, he wants to believe, but at the same time,
We can communicate.
and has he given his blessing for such a thing?
He has understood the complications with attempting to create an organic host, and he has therefore allowed the construction of a mechanical body that is able to hold his essence. We have attempted to create it as much in his image as possible, with some additions that he would approve of. As you can now clearly tell, the Synthesis Mark 12, I shall place picture on screen.
Enhance.
I'm sorry.
This is the basic principle of it. It's not exactly what it looks. It looks like a. It looks very much still like the framework of it, but you can tell it is a large body that has essentially and you can see that parts of it that are still to be attached are essentially making it look as if it was wearing a giant suit of power armor. There is no true specifications on what the face is like yet, but you can tell that it is also meant to have these sort of metallic, angelic looking wings on its back.
My lord, forgive me if I may ask something.
Yes.
What of the Saint Logor's Legion?
Ah, yes. What about them?
Will they assist us somehow in the mission? Pardon my ignorance, but I cannot even recall if they survived the Great War. I mean, if
The Wordbearer's Legion did not survive the conflict of the Horus Heresy intact. No.
intact,
We will not be able to receive assistance from them.
I understand, my lord.
Nor do I believe that they would want to. Okay, perhaps, again, considering the importance that has been placed on you, Magnus, I believe it is time you know more of the truth than most. Lorgar's Legion, the Wordbearers, during the Horus Heresy, sided with the War Master.
That can't. Why? Why would they
Lorgar,
turn against their gene father? That's.
they did not turn against him. This, though the Imperium considers him a saint, Lorgar is currently only attempting to find redemption.
Find redemption from what?
For his own treachery.
No.
That can't be.
No, that can't be right.
I have studied Imperial records for several millennia. And before you say anything, yes, I am that old. I have gained access through sheer persistence and luck to records pertaining to the Great Heresy. It would appear that before the Emperor's ascension into the Golden Throne, he was in fact widely opposed to worship of him as a god.
But that would mean... No.
Lorgar disputed that the Emperor was a divine being and was in a manner cast out from grace. After the Emperor's ascension, I can confirm the Emperor is indeed a god. He is at least now. Our sheer faith and his psychic might combined have made sure of that. But for Lorgar, it was too late to be yet taken back into the fold. What we follow is not the Emperor's imperial truth, for we know that it was not the full truth. It was a means of attempting to kill off the Dark Gods, but it failed. Lorgar's primordial truth that he has been meditating on for over 10 millennia will allow us to truly bring out the best in humanity.
I'm gonna scrutiny.
Okay.
I'm gonna scrutiny on the off chance I roll a natural 1,
Okay.
which is never gonna happen, let's be honest.
Rolled the wrong scrutiny, but I still fail.
Yeah.
You all fully, as far as you can tell, he fully believes what he is saying. The primordial truth essentially pertains that the creatures of the warp, if they are freed from the enslavement of the Dark Gods, could be able to exist in harmony with humanity as a symbiotic being, able to bring forth the abilities of both worlds. It is exactly what that throne does. It allows you to sever your own darkest side from the influence of the Dark Gods, mastering the chaos within yourself.
Honestly, this is madness.
It is what is necessary. The Imperium is dying. The Emperor is dying on his throne. We must do something.
Why should we trust him?
What if something? If you say honestly that he is with the enemy at the moment, what's to say that something's not going to come through in his place?
Why should we trust him?
Even if he
If he betrayed the Emperor once, what is stopping him from doing so again?
I do not understand the quirks.
Because the Emperor is a god.
I don't.
He
I
was
do not know
proven
how-
right in the end. He believed that his father was a god before his ascension. He was penalized for it. Turned against his father. His father becomes a god. Would you not sit back and seek redemption, forgiveness? Would you not want to be proven right?
I'm sorry, but we were just so briefly, so quickly, so recently proven that traitors cannot be trusted.
I worry that even if he's right, and Rogard does seem to wish for redemption, what if something slips past him and attempts to use the method that you have of bringing Lorgar here as a way to get behind enemy lines?
This is why we have made the synthesis models. If anything were to come through that was not Lorgar, not only would it feel immense pain from existing in this body, the body would itself act against the presence inside itself and would be easily defeatable.
My lord, what you just said...
Do you question my authority?
I do not, but... You just said that everything the Imperium believes today is a lie. A lie
It is not.
made true by believing.
Faith is the most powerful tool in this galaxy. Because we believe it true, it has become truth.
My lord, I will grant you this. The God Emperor is a god. He has protected me through far too much for this to be sheer blind luck. It's an impossibility. Thousands have died where I have tread, yet I have come out, for the most part, unscathed.
And so too have I survived millennia, past what should be possible, yet have not aged. I have survived battles where titans were slain, and yet I have not perished.
But my lord, I saw and fought against those things on that cursed planet. They cannot be bargained with. They are not things that we can use to our benefit. They should be eradicated or blotted out. I do not see how we can benefit from those monsters.
Because what you saw were mindless fragments and reflections of their gods. That, what you saw, were truly demons. But the warp is not home to merely just demons. Demons are splintered reflections of their god. The Neverborn are the creatures of the warp born of our individual faiths, beliefs, and emotions. Trust me, it took me 2 centuries to understand the intricacies of how this worked. I do not expect you to understand it in mere minutes. I do ask of you, however, to have faith in what we are doing here. To trust me.
I have faith in the God Emperor. And I will be watching. I will aid where I can. I would give more than I would care to believe to bring back a Primarch, but you cannot accept us to walk blindly into this. I think you know that, so you will forgive my retinue's suspicions.
They were expected.
You'll have our aid, Lord Inquisitor.
Considering I have allowed this much confidentiality in you, I believe I should properly arm you with the means to pursue your own goals. You have met a small force of the Sons of Alecto, have you not?
I have.
Truth is, there are several formations of these, large numbers. In total, there are 200,000 of them. Each of the Inquisitors of my conclave, except for you, until now, and Gregorius, has been given command over a total force of 10,000 of these warriors. Do you accept them?
My lord, if I am to remain less well connected to your faction, would 10,000 be ideal? If we are to go off with...
They need not travel with you at all times, but they will be yours to command.
Very well then, my lord. I humbly accept.
And hereby, the 9th Legion will no longer bear the intermediary name of the Sons of Alecto. You may give them a name if you wish, or they will simply call themselves the Sons of Bloodstone.
I'm sure I can think of something at one point, my lord, when my mind is less addled by the inflow of sensation and information.
Very well. Be aware that all other Inquisitors in this conclave have access to the same amount of Legion forces. Be aware that I hold 2 of these legions under my direct command, as well as 2 more elite legions, and 2 more smaller elite formations. And of course a few billion guardsmen, but that is standard. We are saving the Imperium. It is good that you have joined us. But he puts his hand on your shoulder and truly gives you a look of appreciation.
I give him a look of skepticism. No, Magnus...
That's Felicia's job.
Magnus does seem...
It's like, your religion was wrong anyway.
Magnus does seem a little bit... Again, a lot of has happened in however many hours. But he shakes the Lord Inquisitor's hand, or, you know, accepts the bro.
Oh, he will shake your hand if you want to.
And thank you, my lord. I am not entirely sure what I will do with 10,000 men, but I will not use them irresponsibly. I can assure you of that.
I expect nothing less. You might not be my son, but I feel pride for you as if you were.
You humble me, my lord.
You see, at this point, it's actually almost as if a tear is like. It's almost as if the Lord Inquisitor uses kind of just nope, tear, get back in there.
He's using his psi powers to shove the tears back into tear ducts.
He's had his eyes open too long, that's it.
Congratulations, Magnus, you've been adopted by a fucking madman.
Hey, we're going down with him.
Hey, the Bloodstones have got quite some nutters in them anyway, so it's fine.
We're going down with him.
There's nutters in there, there's this.
Now, do you wish to remain on planet for a bit more? I could perhaps show you where we occasionally can contact Lorgar. I can show you the special formations so that you know how to recognize them.
Yes, my lord. I believe that would that'd be very useful information. However, I will ask Sister Sarah, Brother Felicia, if you wouldn't mind heading back to the ship and preparing things for, and informing Sister Latilla of what has happened.
Very well.
Of course.
Take care, Magnus.
I shall, and I shall see you soon.
Try not to grow wings too fast or Latilla will go batshit insane.
I will do my
You
absolute
can
best.
tell it was meant like as a jest, but
The
it
Lord,
really
the
did
Lord,
not feel like a jest.
the Lord Inquisitor laughs slightly uncomfortably, but
Question,
it
OC.
might seem like madness now. I am aware. Yes.
Since the Lectojuice lore nuked us, would we technically have some forbidden lore about Horus Heresy now?
I will give you all the appropriate skills.
And the corruption that comes with it.
Yay.
I'm
No
expecting
corruption
30 D10. Hey, if Sarah's faith is broken, she loses her sister powers.
Yeah, and she has just been pushed over the edge.
Admittedly, she is suicidally devoted, so it's hard to break her faith.
Not actually not.
So I'm gonna put it this way. We can end the session here if you want, and we can discuss this. But
We might want to end it here because it's already
It's a bit
15 minutes after the normal end.
okay, all right.
So on that rather mind-blowing episode of information and just, yeah, all that warpy goodness, we will end the episode. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you look forward to the next one. So bye-bye everyone, and as always, no, hang on, I'm even adult in real life. Take care everyone, and as always, bye-bye for now.
Good night.